Welcome to my channel to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. Bitcoin is currently trading at 119,660 US dollar. In this video we are going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and Solana. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. So we have to clean up the chart a little bit. So we have set here inverted head and shoulders formatation, which broke to the upside. Target was 119,400 US dollar. So let me take this one out of the chart. This was quite a long time ago. Then we have said that we have on the 50 minutes chart some kind of a corrective movement to the upside where we can sell off again, but we wanted to wait for this double top pattern to break at 117,425 US dollar. If it would have broke to the downside, then we would have closed the fair value gaps in my opinion. So let me just take both chart patterns out of the chart. So we were thinking that we can still go up to 119,000, round about 400 US dollar, 500 US dollar, and from there get a correction over the time into the area 115,600 US dollar to 114,500 US dollar. And from here get a push to a new all-time high. Since we got this kind of up movement, I don't think that we are going to sell into that area. I would adjust the targets a bit, and I would just put this this box a bit more up and do it like this. So let me take this one out of the chart. I don't see any kind of bullish chart patterns. I see a bearish chart pattern, so this head and shoulders formatation, which can break to the downside. And yes, we also have 3 touch points there. So basically, if we break, here's the price mark. So if we break the 118,400 US dollar to the downside, then I think we should sell off into the box. But still, I think that we are going to get support at the blue trend line. The blue trend line, if you are not on my channel since a long time, this blue trend line is connecting all the all-time highs with each other, and we broke that structure to the upside. With that blue trend line, we have predicted the all-time highs, which we got here. We broke that structure to the upside, and we can get more upside potential. Also, here was a cup and handle formatation, target 124,500 US dollar. I think we were pretty close to it. So let me check. So the all-time high was at 123,200 US dollars. So let me also delete this from the chart. We were very close to it, so we don't need it anymore. What I think is that we get some kind of a correction. I still see some more upside potential. Then get something like this, where we can say this can form as a falling wedge or as a bull flag. Afterwards, we break it to the upside, hopefully, and the target is going to move over the time, but currently it's 130,000 US dollar. That's the maximum, I think, at the moment. So, since there is nothing more to say about Bitcoin, because we are super bullish, we have to break the current price mark of 114,240 US dollar to the downside to be bearish for Bitcoin. We are still far away from that. So what about Ethereum? So Ethereum did the up movement, which we have predicted, but for that we have to go into the 50 minutes chart so you can see it a bit better. So we have set in purple falling wedge. We have set for the yellow trend line double bottom pattern. We also had bearish chart patterns on the chart, also this rising wedge right here, which also broke to the downside. So what I was thinking was that we should get into the 4,300 US dollar, and yes, we did with this push. We were very close to it, but from here I expected to sell off because this could have been a double top pattern. But instead of developing it, let's say we have developed a double top pattern, but what we built afterwards with this push here was a rectangle. So this box which we had, broke to the upside right here. So the target is the 4,500 US dollar. We hit that target already. What now? I still think we have more upside potential. We have two targets directing us into 4,588 US dollar. So in my opinion, we should get there very soon, maybe in the next hours. But then I would be very careful that we might not just sell off from here as a bigger correction. But since we are so bullish, I still expect, if we even sell off, we can even sell off a bit lower, but from here get a nice push. So that's what I think for Ethereum. So let's clean up the chart a little bit. So this purple falling wedge worked. This double bottom pattern worked. This rising wedge got invalidated, didn't work 100%. We still sold off, but not that much. I can also take this from the chart. We have invalidated it with this push right here on your right side. So, as you know, rectangles are unique. So since we went into the upper part already, 4,500 US dollar, I can take the spread of that rectangle and put it here to the downside. Why that? Because we have a lot of liquidity down below here, which are stop loss orders and liquidations. Every time we get into those areas right here, here 2 times, here another time, people are going to get long with high leverage. And most of them are not going to take profits with this push. Some of them still hold their trades. Some of them get into high leverage positions and set a stop loss somewhere here, and their target is going to be, I don't know, let's round it up to 5k. They are waiting for the 5k, but the 5k is not going to come, and we are going to sell off. They're also not going to sell off, and afterwards liquidation for them. Also, many people are going to scale up positions, like buy the dip. You know that, you heard it probably a million times. Always buy the dip. So they are buying the dip, and stop loss order is then here lower than this support. Also, we have here a fair value gap. So the price moved too fast within that time. We didn't hit all the orders, and not everyone is going to reset their order. They are just having it right here. So basically, yeah, I would still say once we get to 4,588 US dollar, I would be a bit more careful. Yes, we can also go a bit more up, but we haven't seen a bigger correction since a while. The only correction which we got are like this, or like this, and this, and this, and this, and here we got something bigger. But in the end of the day, those are not pullbacks where I would say this is going to cool down the market. So a bit more upside potential. Afterwards, a retest of the 4,335 US dollar. And if we just get here a bounce to sell off more, then I think the next target is going to be 3,975 US dollar for Ethereum. If we look over XRP, then we can say that this bull flag worked. So we have said here on the 50 minutes chart, this was a double bottom pattern. We have built a triple bottom pattern and also a rectangle. So we broke it to the upside. We got here to the target, to the upside. Since rectangles are very unique, I can just take the spread of that rectangle and put it here to the downside. And you see, I have to put this away. Let me do it a bit more better, like this. That we almost went into the target on the lower part with this movement right here. That's why rectangles are so unique. Anyway, the bull flag broke to the upside. And now we are waiting for the confirmation. So if we get the confirmation that we are going to retest that bull flag at the current price level of $2.20, $3.24, what I want to see is now some upside potential, and that would also be it would also go hand in hand with Ethereum. Ethereum should see a bit more higher prices, but what I want to see for XRP is a push which can easily retest. Let me draw a box which can easily retest those tops here. Then I want to see a pullback where Ethereum also goes to, for example, 4,000 US dollar. XRP is just going to retest the bull flag, and from here get a nice XRP rally, which can easily get prices up to $3.50 or even in its maximum target $4. So XRP looks very good to me. We just have to wait a little bit longer for the confirmation. It might be possible that this was the breakout and the retest, and now we are getting higher prices without getting a pullback. Might be possible. If that is going to happen, then we have to look for other chart patterns, because I have said it in one video, I think 3 days ago. The most difficult part in trading is not measuring targets, finding chart patterns, finding fair value gaps, support and resistance. That's not the difficult part. The difficult part is, where do I enter the market, with which leverage, with how much money, and where should I put my stop loss order? This is the most difficult part, because we can even be right with our analysis, and we can even say, okay, so this is here the breakout, this is the retest, I'm going to get into a trade right here, and I set my stop loss order down below here. So if now the market gets into that stop loss order, it can still go up, because we can wick lower than that and don't invalidate that chart pattern. That's why getting an entry is the most difficult part, in my opinion. And we never know, was this really the retest, because we didn't close our candles within the bull flag again. We wicked lower than that. So basically, what should it mean? I don't know. We have to see, we have to look. And yes, this is speculation. This is not 100% as safety that all the chart patterns are going to work and all the price targets are going to work. We never know it. So we speculate that this is going to work and that we can expect higher prices. So far it looks good. The setup is there. And I expect XRP getting a nice push, maybe even next week. So what about Solana? Solana already did a nice movement. So we were thinking that we get some kind of head and shoulders formatation. But for that, we had to break the $178.80 to the downside to see the area $172 to 169 US dollar. So we didn't break it to the downside. Instead, what we got is we got a double top pattern where we fished the stop losses, and now we can continue getting higher prices. And what I really like for Solana is that we have actually broke the resistance box to the upside. So we have a resistance box on the bigger time frame, 4 hours maybe, yes, 4 hours. So in this box we got rejected, here rejected, here we got rejected, here we got support, here we got support, here we got rejected. So this box is very, very important in my opinion for Solana to break it to the upside. We broke it to the upside. And now we also have a chart pattern on the chart. So this looks to me like an inverted head and shoulders formatation. And I always take the least bullish target for that head and shoulders formatation. And the target here is going to be 199 US dollar and 50 cents. If I now take the most bullish scenario, which is the length of the head, and I put it here to the breakout point, make it blue, then the target is going to be 215 US dollar for Solana. And yes, we also have more upside potential, but for that we need to have more chart patterns, in my opinion. Otherwise, we have a fair value gap between 220 US dollar to 225 US dollar. And if we look over the bigger time frame, then it can look like an bigger inverted head and shoulders formatation. So this is also going to work. So we can measure it new, because with this push here, we had to change it a bit. So like this. And I also make it bright blue, so it's the same color. And here we have the most bullish scenario. So let me just take out the price marks so we can see far more. So as you can see, I didn't clean up the chart a lot. I'm always trying to do it with you together. So anyway, left shoulder, head, and this might be here the right shoulder. For that, we have here on the smaller time frame also an inverted head and shoulders formatation. If this is going to get activated and in its most bullish scenario, then we would see the 215 US dollar. And if we also then break it to the upside, then we have here a complete inverted head and shoulders formatation. And the maximum target is going to be 282 US dollar, 83 US dollar for Solana. So there is a huge upside potential if we break to the upside. So with that said, the market looks very good to me, but keep in mind, the crypto market can easily do 10%, 20% corrections before it does another 50 to 100% to the upside. Yeah, we are not talking about the major coins right here. They are not going to double up soon. The major coins are going to sell off, in my opinion, 5%, maybe in its maximum target 10% within a correction. The altcoins here can easily sell off far more, but afterwards we can still see nice gains. So if we just look, let's say XRP. So if we think XRP goes to $3.34 and we sell off from here into the bull flag again, that's a 3% correction. Just for another push, maybe into $3.50, 9%. So we are so bullish at the moment. And yes, keep in mind, we are still getting corrections. They look small. They can develop far bigger. It is always possible. But the targets are on the chart. And we already hit most of the bullish targets. We still have more ongoing. And more is always good, in my opinion. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets for XRP. If we are going to develop another chart pattern, while we get, for example, this correction here, like a falling wedge or something, and we also break it to the upside, then we have a 6th target. So basically everything looks good to me. Keep in mind that in most cases we even cooled down the RSI a bit, but on the smaller time frames we are overbought. This means RSI needs to cool down. This can be a small correction, and from here we can get into the overbought area again and expect far higher prices for most of the coins. So with that said, we see each other in the Sui, Avalanche, HBAR and Dogecoin update.